Oh, I
About to start.
see that all the time. Yeah, but yeah, that's great to hear though. Thank you for sharing.
The meeting will be starting even if I don't have a co-chair. Well, we're already 20 minutes late. I'd like to value people's time.
All right. You said you were gonna finish on time.
I never said that. Well, we will finish on time, but we just don't start on time. And then have to talk fast. It is maybe.
You're slow.
Okay, happy Feel Good Friday. I'd like to call the meeting, Jobs Committee of Friday, March 15th to order. Roll call, please.
Bates.
Here.
Doherty.
Already here.
And Ford is not here. Strathman.
Strathman here.
Young.
Here.
Lewis.
Who's here?
And Allen.
Ellen present. Alrighty. We have one remote remote attendance request, and that is from Mr. Doherty. Everybody okay with that? Yep. Okay, it is so. Good morning, Gary.
Thank you.
Okay, and then I would like unanimous consent for approval of the minutes from February 15th, February 16th, 2024.
Alan will ask for unanimous consent of the minutes of February 16th.
Oh, I'll be bobbleheads. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no public comments? Awesome. Let's move right along to the community reinvestment. Scott, Mr. Berger.
Yeah. Good morning, Co-Chair.
Morning.
Lewis, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, Scott.
Good morning. Our financial reports are included in your packet. And if I'd be happy to take any questions that might be among the committee.
Do we have any questions on the committee? Okay. Seeing none, quickly, so we're working along with our replacement for Maria. I hear that they're doing a fine job here. Multiple people chipping in to get the work done.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All righty. Then I guess we have nothing else for you, so we'll move right along to Jobs Committee.
Good morning, Mark Van Kerkhoff with the Development Department. And we are so excited this morning. You're about to have a presentation from our partners at IMEC on a program that has been in the making for over 2 years. So I want to spread out a few things before they share the program and some good news since it launched, since your last meeting. But early on with the ARPA funds, the county board invited departments to submit ideas on how the funds could be used to help our county. And in this case, it was a economic development and resiliency idea to help our manufacturers. And since that time, the county board and ARPA committee, had set aside this as one of the designated projects. In this past year in 2023, really everything came together on this. I want to thank IMEC for bringing what they learned and working with 2 other counties, Cook and McHenry, on similar programs to take that good learning and bring it to create something new for our county. I want to thank our economic development consultant, John Grueling, who was part of those meetings and formalized this idea of lighthouse type manufacturer cohorts. And especially want to thank our ARPA team and our state's attorney's office for working through all the ARPA stuff with that. And then last but not least, I want to thank Chris Toth, who really has been the muscle between shepherding all this through and getting it to today. So anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Christy Johns and Paula Vasquez with our 2-pronged program with IMEC. So thank you.
Do we need to switch it over to the presentation?
Before you start, will we be getting a copy of this presentation?
You sure can. In fact, you have most of it, but I'll send the updated one.
Okay.
Yep.
Then we don't have to take notes. We
yeah.
can listen.
Yeah, sounds great.
Thank you.
Happily. Hi, everyone. I am Christy Johns. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at IMEC. I'm going to take just a quick second just to explain who IMEC is for those of you who may not have the pleasure of working with us or us the pleasure of working with you in the past. So IMEC is one of 51 MEP, Manufacturing Extension Partnership Centers in the US. So every state in Puerto Rico has one of us. Our primary mission is to help small and mid-sized manufacturers be locally, regionally, state, and globally competitive. So that includes everything they would need from resources, technical assistance, advice, going in and helping them do things or teaching them how to. Anything that goes on between a manufacturer's walls, we are their first stop to figure out how we can remove those barriers and help with those gaps. We have 55 IMECers, that's what we call ourselves, it's a real word, around the state. And we have hundreds of partners that we utilize to make sure that every manufacturer gets the correct resources they need in a timely fashion in a way that they can really thrive. We also have the ability to pull from the MEP, so the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. That is a part of the U.S. Department of Commerce's NIST MEP program. So we have ties federally. We also have ties statewide. We work with the state on various programs, funding initiatives of that matter. So happy to help all the manufacturers. Kane County is amazing. There are so many manufacturers. It is emerging and growing, and we are just really excited about this program that we've been able to put together over the last 2 years to really help Kane County shine as the true mecca we know it is for manufacturing here in Illinois.
That's a lot of compliments.
Yeah, we like it. Keep it up.
Feel free to use it, royalty free. I just like to thank the team, just as you all did for making this a reality. I think it's been about 3 weeks since we launched, maybe 2. I don't know, time's nebulous to me at this time, but we came together. Maybe. Could you press to the next slide? We came together to really make a program that was manufacturing first, right? So what do the manufacturers need to help the county strengthen? Because if you start with the manufacturers, it's going to build the jobs, it's going to add to the economy, it's going to make the strength that's needed to continue to have Kane County be the great county it is. So this revolutionary, I don't think it's ever happened before, type of program takes a look and says, manufacturers are at different levels and we need to meet them where they are. There is a select group of manufacturers that are very innovative, that are leading the way or have the capabilities to lead the way for what manufacturing of the future should be, right? So we're going to call those the ideal lighthouse manufacturers. Those are the manufacturers that are ready to embrace all of the changes, increased efficiencies, technology, the things needed to really thrive and lead. But then there's a whole nother set of manufacturers that are in the just right now space, and that is completely okay. But they're feeling the workforce gaps of today. I don't think any industry can say that there's not workforce challenges. Finding the right people, keeping the right people, and really utilizing the resources available to them to have that full employment and happy employment. So the second part of this fun grant, say fun, great grant, my adjectives are bad today, are taking a look at Kane County's diverse workforce population. So manufacturing traditionally has kind of looked the same from a workforce perspective in the last 50 years. And that's okay. You know, the great working, they're very productive. But as we're having these workforce gap issues and trying to find people, if you're only looking for a certain segment of the pie, of the workforce pie, yet you're constantly having these gaps in your employment to have your throughput, to have be able to have the greater sales, to be able to really accomplish their goals, you need to look at the rest of the pie. So the second portion, the unsolved, can you go to the next slide for me? One more. Just flew through that one. All right. So the second tier of it, it's really taking a look at on the right side, available to all King County manufacturers, the ability to look at untapped talent solutions to maximize the community you're in, utilizing the great people you have, but also meeting their business objectives. But it's not just about introducing them. It's about making sure that they are capable, they are ready, and that their processes and organizations are set up for success for both them and the candidates that are coming in. And Paula will speak more to that here in a little bit. So go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So that first group of lighthouse manufacturers. So what does that mean to be a lighthouse manufacturer, and what is this program going to do for them? Well, after identifying the right level of manufacturer that is ready to really lead the way for King County, after they apply, we take a look and we have a meeting with them, and we help define their, I'm going to call it a sprint. What is their sprint to excellence? What can we do with them in the next 9 months, in the next year, that's really going to have instant value and instant impact on not only their organization, but the county? And we do that by listening and talking and helping them prioritize. Then putting those programs together and in place, custom to exactly what they're wanting to do, with some milestones along the way, making sure that the results that were intended are happening, being able to pivot if we need to, because maybe there's another fire. So what it really is taking an outside look in and then having funding behind it to run towards exactly what you need to thrive instead of exist. So that's anything from trainings to innovation and technology implementation to really embracing that workforce culture of the future, looking at new processes, maybe looking at how you can expand your market reach, expand your capabilities within your manufacturing facility itself. It's all about performing the way that you always knew you could, and this is going to help you get there. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. And now I will introduce Paula, who is much better at the expanding pipelines than I think.
So gotta lower this. Let me know if you can hear me. So thank you for having us today. My name is Paula Velasquez, and I'm the Director of Diversity. Closer? Okay, Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I've been with IMEC for a little bit over 2 years now, and I'm really excited about this. And I know Mark mentioned that we've been working on it for 2 years, and I like to say that I've been working on it my whole life because it's just kind of follows me wherever I go. And so I'm excited to share this because like Christy mentioned, because of the workforce challenges that we're facing, we tend to traditionally hire people that come to us, maybe look like us, our employees refer to us, and then we forget another segment of the population. What often happens too is that resumes don't even make it to HR tables because they're overlooked by whatever technology is being used, or there's gaps in resumes, so they don't even make it to the HR manager or the hiring manager. And so what we're doing with this is we're looking at different organizations, community organizations that work with untapped talent. And when I say untapped talent, I'm thinking of those non-traditional potential candidates that could be moms that are returning to work, caregivers returning to work, veterans, people with disabilities, the neurodivergent community. I have my list because I didn't want to forget anyone. Also even thinking of that youth between 18 and 25, right? That maybe didn't go to college, but they're in between. I'm trying to find what they're looking for. Refugees and immigrants that are here legally with visa status to work. and people that have limited English speaking capabilities. So many individuals that have limited English speaking capabilities have the skills that maybe don't have the fluency in English, or maybe are just learning, right? So oftentimes we overlook these populations because we think it's going to come with barriers, accommodations, maybe costly, or I don't have the resources to actually get these individuals onboarded and hired. And so that's where IMET comes in. And we have those solutions, those strategies to help them through that process, right? Maybe they're eager to say, yes, I want to hire, but I just don't know where to start, or I'm eager, but I don't have the resources. And that's where partnering with us helps. So what we're doing is we're going to be offering webinars, in-person events, really promoting untapped talent. So working with our partner organizations to share some of the resources that they're offering and how they walk manufacturers through the process of sourcing, recruiting, hiring, onboarding, and retaining these individuals. And each of the partner organizations is unique and individual in their own way. I think I forgot justice impacted individuals. That's another area that we're looking at. And so through these events and these webinars that we're offering, all going to be free for these manufacturers to attend, we're going to start those conversations. They're going to walk away from those events and webinars with strategies that they can start thinking about and implementing right away. So if they're ready to start, great. We're going to get them through a readiness assessment, start having those conversations, looking at their company culture, looking at their talent, their social responsibility, as well as their retention practices, right? So we'll do a readiness assessment to see where they're at. And then we're going to put them through a cohort model where we're going to be able to provide them some education training on how do you get to the next step of creating inclusive practices and process in your organization, because you can hire them, but then are they going to stay? Right. So we want to make sure that this is going to be sustainable for them. So we want to make sure we provide them with that training and education. We have HR experts on staff, and we're going to be partnering with them so that we can continue to ensure that they can come to us and ask us questions, right? We don't want them to be struggling. So it's going to be one-on-one coaching. They'll be receiving the support from us. And then after they've gone through some of these steps, we're going to introduce them to the partner organizations. So some of those untapped talent organizations that I mentioned. And as I said, they're each individual in their own way. So for example, some that have already been, that are known in this community is Autonomy Works. Now they are an organization that works with a company that will hire 10, 15 individuals. Now, a manufacturer may be small, may not have that many positions open, but then we're partnering with Parents Alliance Employment Project, where they can then provide maybe 1 or 2 employees that they need. So we're intentionally offering the diversity of the different untapped talents to help meet the different manufacturer needs. Same when it comes to justice impact individuals. We're connected with the King County's Sheriff's Department. And so with their assistance, we're also working with an organization that they themselves were justice impacted individuals and have co-founded an organization where they know from her firsthand experience how difficult it is to be employed or to get hired and then stay employed. So we're connecting them with some of those, to that organization. And then there's a larger organization that works with justice impacted individuals that has a larger scale, right? So we want to make sure we meet both of those needs. Another one is World Relief, also well known in this community. And often what I hear from manufacturers is we're interested in hiring refugees, but the language barrier is an issue. And so again, that's where we come in and we provide some solutions. There is workplace English learning skills. There are language line opportunities that we can connect manufacturers to so that they can speak to their employees regardless of the language that they have. We're also partnering with a few other organizations that they don't place necessarily these untapped individuals, but this would be more for manufacturers that want to work with untapped individuals, but they're just not ready. But they need to maybe enhance some of their their HR practices, some of their processes. So then we're partnering with one organization called Guided by Community, another one called Holistic. And what they do is they'll walk a manufacturer through ensuring that their, let's say, benefits, compensation, their onboarding, retention practices are up to speed to ensure that they're ready for that next step of hiring these individuals. So with that, I'll stop for a second and see if there's any questions. Yes.
Do you know that CEJA, these workforce hubs have well, we call them returning citizens. That's what you mean when you say justice
Yes,
impacted.
correct.
So are you working through that?
Correct. So we are partnering with different organizations to ensure that that's one of the communities.
And
that we're
foster graduates, are they part of your?
So youth is one of the areas, yes, that we want to work with. Youth, the foster system is what you're referring to, right? Yes. So youth falls underneath that. And then there's others, for example, I would say, I think I mentioned women returning into the workplace.
Mhm.
That's another one. So we are ensuring that there's a wide variety to select from. And if there's something that we're not, some organization we're not working with, that's something that we're open to, especially because this is for the entire year. So we want to make sure that we offer different opportunities. I think I would say too that if a manufacturer participates, they may come into it thinking they want to hire, for example, someone who's reentry, but they may not be set up for it. And so that's when we have those conversations with them to show them or explain to them what they need to have in place to hire these individuals. But then we're going to have all these diverse other untapped talents that they can select from too, because they may be ready for those individuals. Yeah. Thanks for asking that.
Do you have more in your presentation?
Is there another slide?
Let's finish your slide and then
Oops.
there will be questions.
Oh, I think they're clicking.
One
Same
more.
time.
There we
you
go.
No?
And you can stay up here too, because I'm sure there's questions for both of us. So here you're going to see kind of how easy it is for the manufacturers to get started. This is actually straight from the website in which they start to engage. So on the left-hand side, it is that simple just to click on a link and apply to be considered as a Lighthouse manufacturer. And at that time, that's when our team at IMEC contacts them, usually within 2 to 3 days, to start talking with them to make sure that it is the right fit for that program. And if it's not, start placing them into the correct programs, getting them, maybe shifting them over to the untapped talent, or helping them in the small parts, but maybe not ready for the Lighthouse full-blown program yet. And then on the right side, you'll see the untapped talent. I mean, that's universal. So although we start with engagement type events so that they can start to think about this and be very cognizant and accepting of the idea, you'll see that we update this with all of the events, some webinars, blogs, resources. And the minute that they kind of engage with all of those is when we start to do follow-up with them to get more in depth about what level of interest they have in exploring workforce solutions and if it's a right fit for untapped talent. So it's a very concierge model on both sides to make sure that the manufacturer isn't having to do unneeded extra work. We want to make it as simple as possible for them so that they're able to truly embrace these opportunities. If you want to go to the thank you, I just have a little update. I did say that, you know, this all started about 3 weeks ago. We have had, we do foresee 20-ish, maybe more, of the Lighthouse manufacturers to be able to do this. We have had 16 to 17 applications already, some of which do not fit, and that's okay, right? They fit, and then we help them in other ways. But the first group here in the coming weeks will be able to be announced because they'll be starting the work, and we'll be able to start doing cohorts with them so that they are bettering themselves, but also bettering the community as a group. So it's really that manufacturing voice. And I know that They are super excited to be part of that community and part of this community. And then we'll do it again, right? Because it'll be in cohorts and waves. With this being, a pretty long and extensive program, we want to make sure that we time it out to be as least disruptive to the regular organization while still having them commit to the time and energy needed to be the best they can be. And then the second one, I invite any and all, and if you know anyone, next Thursday at, I believe, 8 a.m. at Valley Industrial Association, we will be having our first in-person event on untapped talent. I think right now we're 33. We're up to 33. We would love to have more manufacturers come. And even though it is Kane County, we don't even mind if it kind of goes a little bit out of, the county, because it's still one ecosystem and everyone can learn and get best practices from the things we're talking at these workshops and events. All right.
Okay, wait. First of all, so if people want to, fill out that page before, they go to imac.org?
Yeah, imac.org. At the very top, there's a thing that says Kane County Manufacturing on our homepage, or it's imac.org/Kane County.
To do what?
If they want, can you go back one page? If they want to get to this page, imac.org/Kane County.
Yep, all one worded with Kane County.
This is where we want to send people.
Yeah.
We can attend the VIA.
You sure can. It's a free event. You just register. We'd love to have you there. You'll get to see a lot of the partners that Paula was discussing in action, there to answer questions about some of these underrepresented populations or entering the workforce populations and what it truly means to start those programs. It's very insightful. And even though we're focusing on manufacturing, a lot of these opportunities scale outside of manufacturing too. Yeah.
So I would just add that this in-person event is the first event we're launching. It is a panel discussion. And as you probably have attended panel discussions, they go by so quick. So we had to limit the panelists. So we only have a few organizations, but our intent is to continue to have more in-person events where we can promote other of the organizations. Additionally, webinars are intentional for their own piece. So each third-party organization or community organization will have their own webinar specializing on their topics and walking manufacturers through the process and to know what to expect.
So it appears to me that you are mostly on the HR side, the people side, but I see from your brochure that there is also an operations component. And I'm wondering, but I don't see sustainable manufacturing on this. I'd love to see a fourth bullet item that
We would
says-
love to add it. We're definitely doing a lot in the ESG space, a lot in sustainability. And yes, Paula can speak to that.
So you touched an amazing point. That is something we have identified. We know that it has been around and it has to be more intentional. So if you were to go to our IMAC page, we have been intentional on providing webinars. We did an in-person event, first one we did last year on sustainability, walking manufacturers through that. And we have great, again, community organizations that we're partnering with to provide our manufacturers with sustainability steps. So they're getting baseline assessments. They're then taking that next step on what are the things I need to do to improve. We've also heard from a lot of our manufacturers that they have sustainability committees within their organizations. And so they're looking for that guidance of next steps. So yeah.
Okay, if you, I don't think you got here in time to hear our recycling director speak about paint, and it's costing us $3-4. I don't know for the quantity, but to recycle latex paint. Well, these manufacturers need to help with that, cradle to cradle.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But so is that going to be added to this program?
So that this isn't just your program. This is our brochure. This just kind of shows the breadth of the type of things you can come to expect when working with IMAC. I would say outside of the HR things,
Sustainability.
Yeah. Outside of the HR type, workforce things that the untapped talent really, dives into, all of those other bullets is really what we're talking about of like the options that are being discussed for those lighthouse manufacturers.
Okay.
As they're developing and we're putting that program together, they might need lean training. They might need to implement some kind of a Kaizen. They may need to take a look at their quality system. Maybe they need to be ISO certified so that they can get new sales. All of that is taken into consideration. So kind of think of that as the category of on the menu of the things you're going to dive deep into, and then we're going to sprint towards throughout their lighthouse manufacturing projects.
So I have questions. Oh, I guess I'll recognize myself. It's okay.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I'll recognize.
Anita Lewis. Couple things. I was going to ask you who the lighthouse manufacturers are, but I'll wait for the press release because we want to make sure that we.
No comment. I've always
I
wanted to
know.
say that at a.
I know. I'll wait. I'm a very, very patient woman. Yeah, because we want to make sure that we, highlight them from a county point of view, and we make sure that we.
Before
Well,
any are
that's
announced,
good.
it will be announced in conjunction with the county.
Yes, I'm sure Mark will
Yep.
be right on that. Does any of this involve any of like the pre-apprentice programs? Like, I'm just gonna get right to the point. I have a company that's looking for welders really bad. And I've said, well, we need to get you involved with our high school and get you into some pre-apprentice thing. Is that something that your organization can help me?
I can do the first part and then the program. So yes, we definitely can. We have a career pathway. It's on our website. And what that basically does is it works with the manufacturer to say, this is exactly what we need.
Okay.
And then we help them identify their work plan. So what it is, because some of them don't even need a full apprenticeship. Some of them just need a training plan to be able to implement for certain positions. And then we get them in contact with a community college, or we have our own registered apprenticeships, and we put together that training plan, that journey map to make it so that they're able to do that and get them in touch. So we definitely do that. And it's very important for the manufacturer to think about it while the students are also thinking about it, because there's a disconnect if they don't.
Yeah, we have a number of small businesses, this, that are like machining and welding, and they don't have a huge staff, so they don't go out and try to implement programs, because they don't have the staff for it and they don't have the money for it, which is why I think many of the things that you guys are doing will really help them. So I just gotta walk around Aurora and get some people involved.
I think I would just add to that part of some of the in-person events that we'll be offering and webinars that we offer, we do talk about apprenticeship programs. And as Christy mentioned, we have a lot of community college partnerships as well. And so past panel discussions that we've had, we've invited community organizations, and that is a large topic that we do talk about. So
Thank you. All right, other members, Mr. Young. Mr. Young is out in the manufacturing world, and he's very, very critical to our jobs committee, and I always like to get his comment on things.
But we're not putting you on the spot.
You are, David.
Do that. I'd like to do that because his mind has been thinking for the last 2 hours. No.
Been listening. Thank you. And what is the cost to I'll take Chairman Lewis's example of a machine, like a machine shop that's specializing in, machining parts for whoever, Whirlpool. But it's only about a 50-man shop, and they don't have the resources to go out and create an apprenticeship program or even a training program. A lot of these small, like 10-person, 50-person shops here they were started by people that, they strapped up their own boots, and then they went ahead and they just do it. And then they just don't have resources, or even, they don't even know what they don't even know. Right. So
Yeah.
Is this a program that's free, and does it cost anything to these people? And then how do they even find out about IMEC?
So I'm
That-
going to split it up a little bit. So let's first start with the King County program. So the King County program for those lighthouse manufacturers, the things on that plan that are prioritized will be 100% funded, right? So their projects and project work for that is funded. The setting up for the career pathways, or I'm sorry, for the untapped talent, right? So that's taking a look at all of these different hiring pools, getting the work done, the plans, working with a partner, that also is funded. Then when you talk about maybe some of the things that IMEC does, it can be all over the board from funded to for fee to free, right? Depends on where it is. So your specific question, 10-person shop, just trying to figure out how to basically start the job, just know what they want in the job description and find them. There's levels. So on career pathways, they actually take the welder. They can't set up an apprentice. They don't have time. Right on there, a kind of do-it-yourself model. They can download it. It has the training plan that they may need for each of those positions, so they don't have to make it, and they can mark it out if they want to. Taking it a step deeper, we offer the consultation of it, and that's for free, to talk with our career pathways or workforce experts to say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. I don't need a full-blown apprenticeship, but I do need to have a training program in place because I'm hiring new people, but I really need some expertise. And that's when it starts to get into taking a look at exactly what resources are available. Over here, if you pay this, we can maybe do it for you. Over here at the WEO boards, maybe there's a program over here that'll sponsor that training. ETIP, if you're training more than 2 people in a facility and it's workforce training, that's a 50% reimbursement. So there are options, but sometimes it's about, and that's why I said first stop, come to us, is let's figure out which option fits your time, your money, your need, and your ultimate goal. Because if you do it on yourself, you're going to get really lost in time. And it's really frustrating because all of these resources are scattered throughout the state, and trying to put them all together yourselves, sometimes you're missing opportunities, especially when it comes to funding and resources. Does that answer your question? So at the beginning, free for that 10-person, right? I'd say go to the website, find the 2 career options that you're thinking. I need welders and I need assemblers. Take a look at the work plan, see of that work plan where your gap is, right? That's a 10-minute ordeal. You just take a look and like, oh man, we don't ever train on that. Then talking with an IMEC person, be like, we need to focus on this. This is a gap apparently. And then identify, okay, what are the options? Well, here's funded, here's for fee, here's time implementation, and then put it together for a plan. And then they decide if they want to do it or not, or that do it themselves, right? But they didn't have to do the research themselves.
And in terms of how do manufacturers in Kane County find out about it? Early on, when the Jobs Committee was still young, and Chris Toth and I started exploring how this committee could help benefit, particularly manufacturing, because they're sort of the ignored industry in a lot of ways by municipalities and the community at large. So they just don't know what's here. We quickly learned a couple things. One valuable partner, Valley Industrial Association, which is a membership organization, but does a lot of events, and they're hosting this event for free next Thursday. And then we also quickly learned that IMEC, which is not a membership organization, it's a statewide organization available to all our manufacturers, is already pretty well known and a very well known and trusted advisor to our manufacturers. In fact, they began giving Chris and I leads about, hey, did you know so-and-so is thinking about leaving Illinois? Those kind of things. And we'd get in there and work with them and bring our workforce team and help them stay instead of leave, which is a very, very good thing. So that's one avenue. They have it on their website. They're well known. They're doing marketing. You may have seen the Kane County Connect story. Thanks to Julie Mann for pulling that together for us. And then the other avenue is, you as board members, if you know of manufacturers in your district, Chairman Lewis mentioned knocking on doors. If there's small shops that may not be connected, that's a great way to help us get connected. But we're trying to get as much information out We're also sending all the information to our economic development partners, which includes chambers, municipalities, other organizations, to make it as widely known as possible. We're very excited that you have so many applications in just 3 weeks. So
You know, just won't fit with the qualifications. That it just happens, but people are knowing about this and that's amazing.
yeah, so we're excited about that start, but get the word out because if they continue this trend in the next 3 weeks, these spots could fill up quickly, which would be a good thing. But we also want to make sure, whoever is interested has an opportunity. And even if they were to fill up, as she mentioned, IMEC has funding from a lot of sources, has a lot of partners and a lot of ways that they can help manufacturers. But we're really excited that through Kane County's ARPA program that we're able to provide these 2 specific programs for free, just focusing on Kane County manufacturers.
Could we, could we get like maybe this slide with the website on it? That a one pager that, like if I walk into a machine shop, because, I hang out in weird
We
places.
do have a one pager
Awesome.
that has the stuff on it with the website. Happy to send that.
That would be awesome. If you just get it to Chris or Mark, he'll distribute it to us. That would be great, because we see a lot of those little, the 10 people shop that really wants to compete, and we want them. Because as we know, our small business people really are our backbone.
Yeah, one thing I would add too is traditionally we tend to think of manufacturing as assembly lines, warehouse. To think a little bit broader, a company that is taking a product and adding value to it is a manufacturer. And sometimes we have to kind of retrain our brains to think a little bit differently. So this is very broad and it's open to anyone that qualifies as a manufacturer. And I think it would be great to get them the one pager that shows the different industries that we're working with that are manufacturers
Please,
too.
that would be amazing. Mr. Roth first, and then you, because you've already had.
I
your
will-
question.
Mine's real simple, Roth here. If Mark could send that out to all board members, not just the jobs committee, please.
Yeah, we'll absolutely do that.
Mavis,
I feel like I should know the answer to this, but how do I get a list of all the manufacturers in my district? Is there a?
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? So manufacturers,
Ask Rita.
manufacturing just in Illinois, depending on which census and which department and who you work with, can range anywhere from 12,500 to 14,000. It just depends on the updates. So we have a database, but that's, from working with and cleaning, it's not some government database or things like that. I would say there are tools and things out there to use. We usually don't give it out because of, we're helping them. And sometimes, I'm not saying that the county would, we would want to make sure that it doesn't get into some of the salesy type things. So we've just kind of had that border for ourselves. Now, in saying that, anybody who engages in these, especially this program, the attendees of this program, the webinar, that is in conjunction. You will have access to every single one of them to be able to, if wanted to follow up or do a tour or things. So as soon as they engage in this program, they become I will say a shared, company. As far as getting exact lists, if you could find one, that'd be amazing. We're constantly trying to update and figure out. Just another interesting note on those 12,500. The majority of them, like over 95%, are small manufacturers under 10 employees. So when you're thinking about, everybody thinks manufacturing, thinks about, Caterpillar, thinks about, things like that. But it's the majority, the backbone is 10 people and under, 20 people and under.
Not an easy answer. When I was an acupuncturist, which I did for 20 years in Aurora, I would have women come to me who were welders and, all kinds of interesting jobs like that, but I don't know what their companies were. So I know those manufacturing companies are everywhere.
Yeah,
So.
and they truly are. And you have a very, very volume heavy manufacturing county. It's the input that it puts into the economy, the jobs it's creating. That made me a little sad when you said they're sometimes overlooked because there's so many. It is such a vital part of what makes King County great. I mean, you take one step or two steps away from the manufacturer, that's still manufacturing and adjacent. That's the majority of the economy. Take out healthcare, take out education, and you're left with your manufacturing.
Don't forget about ag.
Yeah, and ag, but ag
Archives,
falls into
yeah.
manufacturing a lot more than you think.
Really? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Because they process seed, they bag it, a lot of that, if they're doing stuff, they're adding components, they're spraying, that's what I mean. A lot of manufacturers don't even know they're manufacturers
Right.
because they consider other
We can-
things.
We can talk about that later,
Okay.
'cause I have some ideas on that,
Okay, good.
depending on what you want it for. Did you have a question,
I just had
Mr. Young?
one other comment, and it goes along with what Mavis Bates said was for some of these smaller companies to know that these potentially free services exist, they need to be told about it. So, I mean, I have this side thing, and I'm texting this guy right now, Batavia Foundry, small little place. So when I see him tomorrow, I'm going to pick up some parts from him tomorrow. I'm going to talk to him about this, or Saturday, I mean. And then I'm dropping the parts off to a machine shop that on Saturday, and I'm going to talk to that guy about this too. But that's just two people. You need to make sure that somehow you're marketing this to these guys that I'm going to go talk to on Saturday. So I don't know how you do that, but it kind of goes
Take
back to
that.
what Mavis said, is that if you have a list of some of these people and you can, send emails and stuff. I don't know.
Doing that, I can take a look
Yeah.
at the amount of manufacturers that we're in contact with in Kane County. It's an easy pull because we're doing just that. Once a week, we're communicating with them on the program, and then every other week on one side of the program and the other, and then the third week we put it together, and then we keep doing that once a week. And hopefully we have contacts and things. We do have a big database of now whether or not they decide to read, we don't know. But that's where partners come into play. Kathy at BIA is amazing. So she's obviously has an active membership that's right here in the heart of it all. She's, helping spread the word there. We have, we partner with IMA. So they have people around here. Maria Moran is the regional person. She's going around to make sure if they're in Kane. We have 3 regional managers here that are boots on the ground that are doing the same thing. They're meeting with these manufacturers anyway, because we know about them and then asking for referrals. But I agree, if we can get more market penetration, I don't even think it'd take 3 weeks to fill these up, right? Because with just getting people to know about this program in the early stages, already having this kind of momentum behind it is amazing. It usually takes time for people to learn, feel comfortable, apply, and it's just not happening with this. So you definitely formed a very, very strong program that the manufacturers are needing.
So, what I was going to add to that, the quicker you can get us the one pager, because it would be great that he gives it to the guy who gives it to the guy. And then that guy's going to tell another guy. It's like Facebook, all of a sudden explodes. And a lot of people, like I live in Aurora, which is these people, they don't check their social media. They're not going to check things from you because they got me on the phone saying, I want that order and I need it right now. And they got their guys on overtime. So when he goes to pick up the parts, if we all have contact with people in our district, the little guys. So sooner we get that, I would like to see you flooded where you call us and say, stop.
I would love that too. I believe you might have it, Mark, and if you don't, I will forward it right when I sit down the flyer.
Perfect. Yeah, I think we have a job we can do. All right.
Any other questions? All right. Well, I would just like to thank you once again for taking the time, to listen and learn. Please share the message, share the great program, and then just an overall appreciation for the great things not only this committee is doing, but the county as a whole. Other counties aren't taking such a front row seat in the evolution of manufacturing, and this can really help others learn by what you're doing. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for taking the time. And you have, they have your contact information, right?
Yeah, and I
Okay.
got parts too.
We would love it. All right, that was awesome. I don't think you can top it, but try.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you. Awesome. So I just have a couple quick slides for today's staff updates. I'll just get right into it. Actually, I sent this to the committee members yesterday, but I just wanted to highlight that the GSEP 2023 annual report is now available online at worldbusinesschicago.com/GSEP. You can just click that link and download it if you need another copy or would like to share with everyone. If you can go to the next slide, please. Awesome. I just wanted to highlight King County's highlighted company that's in this, that's in the report. This was something that we've been working on now since about 2020 when when DCEO reached out to Mark and I and some other parts of King County because this company, Flender Corporation, was in Elgin. Their lease was about to run out in their location and they were looking to move or try to expand their facilities. Flender is unique because they make wind turbines and they're one of the only North American companies that do this. So that's a unique company. And through the programs of GSEP, DCEO, and us here at the King County, we've just been working with them to help expand their manufacturing facility. And so far they've created 50 new jobs and retained 104 in the region. So that was our highlight for this year. Of course, there's other great things to highlight, but for the sake of the report, they picked one.
Chris, real quick, Flender makes the gearboxes for the wind turbines, not the wind turbines.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
themselves.
That's right. Yeah, because it's
Yeah, it's a massive gearbox.
yeah, I remember going into their facility. It was high up, and they were moving everything along because they were huge.
Right, but they don't do the whole entire wind turbines. they
Right.
just do the gearboxes.
Yeah, thank you for correcting me on that.
You're
I appreciate that.
And
Because-
also just want to add to the Elgin Development Group and Tony Lysenko and their team was also a big part of working with DCO and everybody. But it really is a multi-partner success story. And that's the one that we recommended highlighting for our GSEP. And for Mavis, it's a sustainable company. So.
Yeah.
Do other things outside of wind turbines, Mavis? Oh.
Thank you. Next slide, please.
Except you want.
This is another fun thing that we've been highlighting now, I think, since at least last 7 or 8 years. It is time for Makers Madness. So Illinois Manufacturers Association puts this out in March every year along with March Madness. I put the URL at the bottom to cast your vote. It is to vote for your favorite product made by an Illinois manufacturer. It goes to the bracket system and we have some Kane County companies. If you could pull up the PDF that I attached. One of the wonderful benefits of our new team. Oh, awesome. If you could just zoom out just a little bit. So sitting next to me is Catherine McKenna, one of our new planners. And in, I think, a day she put this together. So she took the list of voting from the website for the Makers Madness and she put together a map of the companies with pins on where they are and what they make. And we're currently working with Julie at King County Connects to put this out into an article so that we can share it out with everyone so they can get out and vote. If you haven't, go vote. Vote twice if you can. Vote for a couple of times. Support communities in King County, or support manufacturers in your community, or just support manufacturers in the county if there's not one in your community. This is just a fun thing to do to highlight all the wonderful products. And every year we learn about something new that's being made in our county that we did not know was being made here before. So awesome. If you just, the first round of voting ends March 17th. So you've got two more days to just get through that first round. So if you could head back to the slides. Thank you. And then next slide, please. After that. It's really hard to follow up the team at IMEC. I mean, there's so much energy. It makes me feel like I'm talking slow over here. So I just wanted, I did a lot of this last month, so I just wanted to highlight some unemployment data. I wish I had good news, but for January, we did spike up to 6.7%. I saw spikes also in Illinois and in the US. Even we had a slight spike in February. We've got some unwanted news that inflation did not slow down in February prior to the predictions. From what I've read, that's pushing back some of our interest rate declines that the Fed is looking at. So we're keeping an eye on that. I wish I had a really good explanation I know in January, there were a lot of layoffs across a lot of sectors, tech being one of the bigger ones nationally, but not locally. But if you go to the next slide, I did find something interesting. So when you are given the initial jobs report at the beginning of the month, usually we celebrate how big that number is. And one of the things that I found out is that there's also first and second revisions for those job numbers. So if you look at the year of 2023, only 2 months where those numbers actually revised higher than their initial announcements. So if you look at the other 10 months, there's actually a lot lower across the board. And in January, we actually saw for the first revision, a very strong dip. So I try to take the initial readings of the jobs created reports that come out from the federal government with a little bit of a grain of salt because they are typically revised. I don't know if that explains why we're seeing these jump in unemployment numbers. I'm trying to dig into that further, and if I can get a good answer for the local level, I'll share it with the committee. But it just goes to show you that when we're looking at the data for all these jobs, multiple sources, make sure you check your numbers afterwards and try and find out as much as you can because these numbers are constantly changing. So not the best news, but news nonetheless. And with that, I will end my updates and take any questions.
I think Mr. Roth wants to ask the first one because this is his favorite slide.
That's my favorite.
I know, it's his favorite slide. Go ahead.
I'll just make a comment. You have to be a full-time job as an economic to keep track of all that. So I wouldn't recommend you trying to do that.
Thank you.
Maybe
Is this based on our local unemployment?
This is national.
But King County, I mean, the slide above.
That's the previous slide, yes. On our 6.7% was our unemployment rate as of
So
January.
that's who's seeking unemployment?
So it is those who are, yes, who are looking for jobs and are currently actively looking for jobs and have unemployment. That's the
Unemployment,
U3 number.
They're receiving unemployment insurance
You-
payments.
You said the E3 number?
U3, yes. I didn't give the U6 number because that's closer to, I think it was 8-point-something%. It was much higher.
Thank you.
Mr. Young?
Do we have a committee or a resource within Kane County for, let's just say, entrepreneurs, and that could be some mad scientist in his garage putting together stuff, that maybe he ends up the next, Hewlett Packard. That's how Hewlett Packard started, right? Starting in the garage. Everybody starts in the garage. But do we have resources available for these kinds of mad scientists that if you know of one or you hear of one or they say you're really good at doing that, maybe if there's some funding, you could take it further.
Yeah, so the answer to your question is yes. And
They're mad scientists too. Entrepreneurs are crazy.
yeah, and thank you for that question. And because of our partnership and investment with GSEP and the regional initiative, which is being administered by World Business Chicago, that gives us and our resident mad scientists, inventors, entrepreneurs access to a number of their programs. They do a lot of things with us for startups and entrepreneurs and events that give them exposure to capital and other opportunities for them. The other part of that partnership is in the past, really no one else in the region had data on someone like that who might have just gotten a first round of capital to bring their business, to the next step level. And that's really exciting because that gives us an opportunity to find out who might be in our backyard working out of their basement or garage to begin to understand what their needs are going to be when they need a facility, when they need staffing, so that we can try to keep them at home here in Kane County. Some of our other regional connections for folks like that are MHub, which has facilities for prototyping and again, programs for startups, 1871 for entrepreneurs. So there's a real growing and vibrant ecosystem that's developing. So we can help them get connected with that.
One follow-up question. Is that in the packet that you sent out yesterday, Chris, that you're talking about the M-Hub and the 1871? Because I noticed there was some information about the people that do investments, not investment bankers, but the
Venture.
funds. Venture
Capitalists.
yeah, venture capitalists. Thank you. I noticed that was in the packet, but is that the M-Hub and 1871? Is that also in the same packet from yesterday?
They may, I'll have to look through the packet and see on that, but those are organizations that we're aware of in the region that we're, again, making our manufacturers aware of everything. So we can compile something more concise on that, if that would be helpful to you to share with manufacturers and folks that you're running into.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, absolutely, John.
David, this is kind of the holy grail of economic development. Everybody knows the big employers. Everybody knows when somebody leaves town. Everybody knows when there's a big ribbon cutting. But what we don't know are those people working at their kitchen table in the garage, in their basement, and they're going to be the next Steve Jobs. One thing that Kane County is involved with at the regional level, and that will soon be more involved with at the more local level, is the creation of an entity that will be able to partner with resources and reach out to some of these young entrepreneurial spirits. Right now, we don't have an organization like that. A Kane County Economic Development Organization, in fact, in terms of one of its primary missions, could be to focus on startup and entrepreneurial activity. And it doesn't happen overnight. These people work by themselves, very, very close networks, don't trust people from government. And yet there are ways to support and benefit them at the county level. And I think that's something that we're working on.
Yeah, also some of I know in Aurora, they do have some resources for startup businesses and small businesses. Some of them are small grants and some of them are just access to organizations that can kind of help them navigate through that, some networking kind of things. So probably I shouldn't say probably, but I believe bigger towns, Aurora, Elgin, Carpentersville, they have those within their structure too. It's sometimes trying to find them.
Am I recognized?
Yes.
Okay.
Space.
You looked at me. Is there any feedback from the patent office? People filing patents that we could reach out to and say, hey, you want to?
Do
And
you have a full time many person research team?
I-
That's about what it would take.
Okay. So there's
Yeah,
no
if I-
easy look.
Go ahead.
David, yeah, I wasn't recognized. Oh,
She
sorry.
looked at you.
Thank
so-
you.
Mr. Young.
Thank you. I thought that's a good idea. But yeah, it's,
By zip code.
well,
It's by zip code.
there were, and I brought this up to Miss Lewis before. At Burlington Central, where my daughter goes to school, there is I forget the name of the program, but it's a semester-long program about entrepreneurs, and it's a really cool thing. And the student comes up with an idea, and then they have to present that idea to a team of people at the end of the semester. And sometimes it goes somewhere, sometimes it doesn't. But that kind of spirit needs to be somehow, I'm not saying harnessed, but it needs to be nurtured so that you take them and say, okay, if they do have a great idea, or just if the idea is not that great at that moment, but what about the next one that person might have, right? And so somehow you need to make sure that these people that are going through these, cycles in their mind, and they're putting stuff together in their garage or whatever, welding things together, that those people stay in Kane County, and you have them create like the next Apple or the next Caterpillar here. I don't know how you do that, but it was kind of in the,
Yeah.
Mind what we're
West Road
talking
does
about.
that too. It's cool.
yeah,
Maybe we
Yeah,
could do
to-
that. We could have a county mad scientist award.
I don't know.
And
Go
to
ahead.
underscore what John said, later this month, our draft report from our Economic Development Strategic Plan is going to come out. And it's going to have data and recommendations and things that support that. But, and generally, the reason we've been working on that is, we realized several years ago that we are the only large county really in this part of the Midwest that does not have an economic development organization, most of which have budgets anywhere between $1 million and $2 million just to do that kind of fostering work, support, education, connection, and everything. Chris and I, in the last 8 years, have had the privilege of being able to be aware of some companies like In-Flight Entertainment, which started up in the basement with two guys,
Really?
and now they're developing LED products for the aviation market. Started repairing little video screens, and it's just mushroomed. Is just, one local example, but that's just one we happened to stumble on because of our export grant program we had at the time. So there's a lot more that can be done because there's so many good things going on. Your daughter's program at Burlington Central, Dundee, a lot of school districts have done that, but you're right, to foster that talent, keep them here, let them know there's opportunity and support. They don't need to go somewhere else. To
Right.
do that. That's really, we really see critical. That's why Chris and I are so passionate about moving ahead with hopefully creating an EDO for Kane County. But we'll have the report and some more supports for that
What did you
shortly.
say?
They'll be completing their work by the end of this month as part of the condition of our RISE grant. This whole study is being paid for by DCO's RISE grant. And then we'll be able to use that, the EDO, when it's formed, we'll be able to use that as the roadmap for staffing programs, what the initial efforts are and everything. So we're gonna hand them that. They won't have to undertake that on their own. The other thing I just wanted to point out with the numbers that Chris had is, you might recall a year ago, we had both the Parents Employment Project and Autonomy Works we heard about on their end what they're doing, and what we realized in wanting to create this program with IMEC is that someone needed to be working the other end, the manufacturer's end, and get them connected. So we're really excited to see that happen. I think those unemployment numbers, convey that there are untapped workforce that we can connect. It's not like there's nobody looking for work. So we're really excited about getting that part of the program going as well. So thank you.
I think we have a high number of people that have given up looking for work.
Yeah.
For various reasons. And that's the people we kind of need to draw back in.
Madam Chair,
Do you have more to your?
Madam Chair,
wait,
me again.
Okay, let me see. So
Okay.
you're done with your presentation?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I have a
Ms.
question for
Bates,
Chris.
Yes.
Is there, going with what Ms. Lewis just said, is there any evidence that more people have entered the job search and that's why our unemployment numbers would have gone up?
No, I haven't seen any evidence of that, but that doesn't mean that isn't true.
Okay.
The federal government really keeps their numbers tight on how they come up with their percentages.
Okay, because sometimes if, maybe
Yeah.
after COVID.
Yeah,
more
it's
people would
very
be
narrow
looking.
because it's based on the people that are actually filed unemployment, not those that have given up.
Yeah.
So it's a skewed number for sure, but
Mhm,
we do the best we can with the numbers you have.
mhm.
So, okay, any new business? Okay,
Briefly, Alan here. I didn't feel like I had as much contact with the 4-H kids this year because of the way it was set up, but I did have a brief conversation. The 4-H kids are also involved in a program called Go Build or You Build. Do you
Build.
recognize that?
you build, yes.
Okay. And the idea is that the program will help someone who is going to get a high school diploma that also wants to get some free apprentice sort of opportunity. And it's a federal program. The one that's local has enough money to support 64 kids. And the idea is that you'll come out of that program with your high school diploma and also with a certificate that is, preparatory for your job. If you want to go to college, fine. If you want to go to a trade school, fine. But if you want to get into the trades now, here's a way to do it. So we're going to follow up and get some more information on that. But I thought I didn't know about it and I thought it was pretty cool.
I think it was Youth Build,
Is it You Build?
Youth Build.
Either way.
Well, we'll find
Did
out.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting program. I think that's coming from Quad County Urban League,
Okay.
was that program. Well, my young man told me that. He said he got an ABCEP certificate, which,
I've got
can that be true? That's
that
pretty wild.
All right. I just had one comment, and that is, well, for the committee or anybody, in the IEDA, which is the Illinois Economic Development Summit, is going to be on June 21st and June 22nd in Chicago this year. Last year it was downstate, this year it's in Chicago. I am definitely going. I went last year and I learned so much. In fact, Fletcher was one of their keynotes last year. And also, there was one of the economic development partners in St. Charles that was talking about redeveloping downtown areas. So it's very applicable to what we do and the things that we see. So
June what and what?
it's June 20th and 21st in Chicago.
Okay.
And there'll be
I wanna
information and we can pass it on. Yes.
It's kind of, we have a budget in the Economic Development Fund for trainings and,
To go to this?
yes. So if you'd like to go, let Chris know and we can get you registered.
I'll go
Yeah,
with you.
I don't think registration's officially open yet because I just got to save the date, so, which I did. So, yeah, June 20th and 21st in Chicago. Should be cool. All right, that's all I have. If nobody has anything else, it's lunchtime. I need a motion to place the reports on file.
Bates moves to unanimously put the reports on file.
All righty, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we do not need executive session, no public comments. And on behalf of Mr. Kenyon,
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
You're here.
all in favor? You're here.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Great meeting, you guys.
I'm
We could spend the rest of the afternoon discussing this stuff.